Let's take a look at 25 cool new things you can do, see, and experience in Madden 25. This video is presented by the EA Creator Network as they did allow me to get this early footage, and I'm on an earlier build of the game, so it's technically still a work in progress and some small things can change. For number one, we have to talk about the new catching animations. They added over 700 catch animations to the game, but my favorite are definitely the one-handed spectacular catches, which you can now do by holding the LB or L1 button. This will have your receiver go for a more fancy one-handed grab. They also added a ton of new possession catches, which you'll see all over the field, but you'll definitely notice them even more on the sideline as receivers will now contort their bodies more, they'll fully extend more, and try to make those tough sideline grabs or back of end zone grabs that you see in the NFL. But like I said, the one-handed grabs are my favorite, and keep in mind, you can drop these pretty easily. They are not a guaranteed catch, even with a good receiver, because there is a degree of difficulty with the catch. But there's all types of new catches you'll see depending on how you move the receiver and the type of catch that you go for. And although examples like this are pretty rare, you will see some crazy stuff happen from time to time. For number two, let's look at the trick kickoff return. So obviously we know the NFL updated their kickoff rules, so Madden did as well, but they've also now allowed you the opportunity to do reverses and read options on kickoffs depending on which kickoff type you choose. You're going to have the ball, you have the option if you want to run it yourself, or you could reverse it or hand it off to a teammate, and you can create some pretty big returns with these new mechanics. For number three, we got to talk about the new trick plays in the game. They added a bunch of these this year, which is cool because it's kind of an area Madden was lacking a little bit in. So you're going to see a lot of new double passes and other types of trick plays. And these are a little risky. They're not going to be foolproof, but they can work from time to time if you pull them out at the right time. Defenses will bite on these fakes sometimes, so they're definitely cool to pull out in a rare situation or if you want to fake out your friends. Number four, we have to talk about the Chiefs Super Bowl winning play, the corn dog play. Now, they updated a lot of plays in the game, but the fact that they put their exact Super Bowl play in the game, I think is pretty cool, and you can literally use this in the game just like they do in real life. For number five, let's stick with the plays and playbooks. The cheat motion is now in the game, and you will find these in different playbooks, but you'll find the most of them in Miami's playbook because they made this really popular last season. And there's just a bunch of new motion plays in general. As you can see here, a motion screen where the receiver runs in and runs back out. These are things we have come accustomed to seeing in the NFL, and I'm glad we now have a bunch of these in the game because it really represents what the league is like today. So we have a ton of these new motion plays. Some of them are cheat motion, some of them are just behind the line of scrimmage, motion in, motion out to a flat or things of that nature. And these are all going to be really cool. And on top of that, there's just a bunch of new plays and formations as well, like this one in the Ravens playbook, the U-off trips, which is a good running formation for the running QB like Lamar Jackson. This is really fun to use as well. For number six, we have to talk about the fact that you can run like some of the top real NFL players. They added new locomotion for guys like Christian McCaffrey. As you can see here, this is exactly how he runs in real life. We also got Isaiah Pacheco, which is one of the more obvious ones. He has a very unique run style, and now when you play with him in the game, you're going to run just like he does in the NFL. And you've also got this for Saquon Barkley as well. I can't wait till they add this for more players, but the fact that they're starting to do this to make the game look more realistic is something I think is really cool. For number seven, we have to touch on the new ball carrier moves and just ball carrier system in general. This is the most realistic I've ever seen the ball carrier moves in Madden because you can really chain these moves together and get really sticky like you see some of the top NFL players do. It's not really just about doing one juke or one spin now. They can still work that way, but now it's definitely more about trying to chain these moves together as they've added a lot of different elements to it where you can jump back, jump to the side, you can jump back, juke backwards, spin out of a juke a lot easier. And it's just a lot of fun to kind of get in practice mode and just mess around chaining together these hesitations into these moves or doing one move and then trying to maneuver your stick in another way to spin out of the move. This is going to make playing in the open field so much better. For number eight, we have to talk about the new route stemming feature. Now, this is also in college football, so if you've played that game, you're probably familiar with this, but you now have the ability to change the stem of many routes in the game like corners, digs, posts, and more. You can put them as high as you want or as short as you want, and this just opens up the creativity on offense better than ever before. Like here, for example, you're going to see I'm going to take the dig route to Michael Pittman. I'm going to extend it up a little bit more so that it goes into the end zone, and now I can put the routes exactly where I want them, and because of this, I'm able to score a touchdown. For number nine, we have to talk about the new blocking mechanics, which is another huge upgrade to the game, also found in college football, so you may be familiar with it already, but you now have the ability to half slide, go empty, go base, and the offensive line will show you who they're blocking, and as you adjust it, you'll see who's changing, who's adjusting to who. They'll also use flame icons above players to let you know who is the hot player, so in case he were to blitz, he would not be accounted for, and this gives you all the tools you need to now block pretty much any kind of blitz somebody can throw at you. You can slide them every which way, and you can see who's responsible for who, so this can help you set up your protection better, and you'll never be surprised at who's blitzing. For number 10 here, we're going to keep with the same theme of game gameplay changes, and we have to talk about the switch stick, one of the best additions to a football game in a long time. This allows you to switch on players mid-play before the QB throws the ball, and it can help you get interceptions. So notice I'm on the linebacker. I see the running back coming open, so I switch over to the other defender. I'm able to come down and make a play on the ball. Let's look at another example here. I'm usering in the flat, and then I'm going to switch stick up to the cornerback and pick off the corner route. So now annoying routes like corners or deep crossers, you have full power to stop these, because if you see something developing, you can flick the right stick in the direction of that route, switch to that nearest defender, click on, and make a play. This is a game-changing feature. For number 11, we have to talk about the new coverage shell disguises as well. And again, if you've played college, you've seen this already, but Madden and college developed these features for both games, so we have them for both games. You can flick the right stick inside of your formation, and you can show whatever coverage shell you want. So right here, we're showing a one high cover 3 shell, but we're actually in a cover 2 defense. And by doing this, we can not only fool the computer, but you can fool your human opponents as well, because they may think you are in a certain defense, and they may think a spot on the field is going to be open, but really, you're in a whole nother coverage. For number 12, I gotta talk about the signature QB animations. You'll notice QBs like Tua, for example, he's gonna have his mannerisms and his stance. You'll notice the same thing for the other big guys like Jalen Hurts. He has his squat stance, and you'll notice when they audible or hot route, they're gonna have their real mannerisms from real life. They're gonna audible, they're gonna hot route, just like they would in real life. Notice for Mahomes how he's switching things up, and then his stance. Notice how Lamar Jackson wipes the towel behind him, just like he does in real life. Dak is gonna have his signature leg kick, and he even has his here we go cadence in the game as well. Most of the top QBs are going to have their likeness on field, and I think this is a great addition. Sticking with the same theme here for 13, look at Tyreek Hill, how he stands exactly like he does in real life. Notice how the top receivers will approach the line and have their signature stances. For number 14, let's talk about the defensive pre-play movement. This is one of the things that makes the game look more realistic than ever. Notice how the players talk to each other on defense. They drift around, they throw their hands up, and this is most noticeable on the broadcast cam. I mean, I'm not going to lie, this looks pretty close to a real game right here. All of that pre-play movement and communication from the defense is pretty cool to see. For number 15, we have to talk about the new announcers. We now have new announce crews in the game, and you can rotate them to hear whichever crew you want. Now, those new announcers weren't available yet on the build I was playing, but here's a little clip of one of them from the trailer.
And he finds him in the end zone for the Minnesota touchdown. The Vikings scoring a big play pass.
Moving on to number 16, let's talk about the new NFL draft. This finally got updated in Madden, and now you will see Roger Goodell on stage announcing the picks. You'll see a draft board that lets you know who was drafted, and players will come out, meet Goodell, give him a little hug, give him a little handshake, and also hold up their jersey. And for those later round players, you'll see scenes from the war room for your team, and then you'll see the player at home with his friends and family holding up the hat, which is pretty cool. They'll also give you an instant draft grade depending on who you picked. And another nice thing they finally added to go along with this was the ability to sort your prospects by attributes, by physicals, by combine stuff like 40 times, so you can now find the players you want quicker. For number 17, let's talk about the new pregame presentation. They finally made it look a little bit more like an NFL-style broadcast. You'll see the players warming up on field. There's a bunch of different variations of this you will get. It's not always going to be the same cutscenes. You will also still see players coming out of the tunnel and doing the runouts as well. And for primetime games, sometimes you will get more cinematic pregame, but there's a bunch of different variations now, and I think this is a nice touch to the game to go along with the fact that they've updated announcers and they've updated other things as well. Now, speaking of that, let's move on to 18 for the new Super Bowl celebration. Stop the video now if you don't want to be spoiled, but there are going to show you some different celebrations depending on if you win or lose. So if you win, it's going to focus more on your team winning. Of course, you're going to see the losing team noticeably be a little more aggravated than they were in previous celebrations. And I think finally they've made this look really good. I think they did a pretty good job with it this time around. There were always some clips in the older ones that they had where I felt like some stuff was off a little bit. Seems like they did a lot of things right with this one. You even have Randy Moss walking out the trophy, which is pretty cool as well. Now, if you lose the Super Bowl, which I'm going to show you right here, you're going to get somewhat of a similar celebration, but it's going to cut off a little bit early. So it's going to cut off before the trophy comes out. It's going to cut off before they get to stage and do the MVP celebration and show the players holding up the trophy, because it's going to show it more from your vantage point of kind of being mad that you lost. So you're going to see the team celebrate for a little bit, and then you're going to kind of have a shot of your player kind of walking off the field, and it's going to end. For number 19, let's let's talk about the fact that Team Builder is in Madden for the first time ever. We finally have a way to create teams again. They took Create a Team away a long time ago. They've brought it back in the form of Team Builder, which now gives us more freedom than ever to create the teams that we want, where you can now upload your custom logos and everything in between. For number 20, you can now break rookie and team records. They finally added those back to the game, so there's a ton of team and rookie records for game and season that you can now break, and they will show you a celebration with the banner when you do this. For number 21, let's talk about the fact that we now have defensive team celebrations in the game. We've seen this in the NFL for years. We finally now have it in Madden. After an interception or a fumble recovery, you're going to see different shots of the team getting together and celebrating and posing just like they do in real life. There's a number of these that are different, so you'll see quite a few of them. And while we're here, let's just talk about some other celebration stuff they updated. They finally changed the gritty. It looks a lot better than the old one. It looks less stiff and it looks way more fluid. That's more like the gritty you would see Justin Jefferson do in real life. And they've also added some other new celebration dances that have been popular in the NFL as well. For number 22, let's look at the Road to Glory import. Now that college is back, you can import your Road to Glory player into Madden for the first time in many years, and this is an awesome feature. Shout out to my guy James Bordeaux, fellow YouTuber. He sent me these clips over because I needed them last minute for this video, so shout out to him for helping me out. Now for number 23, keeping with your player, you can now put tattoos on your player. This has been asked about for years. My build of the game did not have the full library of tattoos yet, but I'm just giving you an example here of what you can now do. For number 24, let's talk about the new mini games. Now they brought mini games back last year. They added some pretty cool ones, and this year they added, I believe, 15 new ones. They brought back the Pocket Presents, which was a fan favorite back in the day, but they've even added some other cool ones like the Bucket Drop Challenge, where you have to hit these targets at different areas of the field using the freeform passing. They've even now added mini games for offensive linemen as well, and some of these will be inside of franchise mode for minicamp. They even brought back stuff like the 2-minute drill, so you can now practice and work on that 2-minute drill offense, which is pretty crucial in the game, especially for you franchise players. This is definitely something you're going to want to practice up because you're going to have those 2-minute drill opportunities. And for number 25, let's talk about the all-new updated Gauntlet, the best version of the Gauntlet we have seen yet. If this is a mode that you like to play with your friends or you just like to see the highest score you can get, they have fully updated it and made it better than ever. They've added all the mini games to it, and they even have specific games that you can only find inside the Gauntlet itself, making it pretty fun and interesting. You're going to kind of always see something new unless you just play it a million times, but the first 10 times you play it, you're going to constantly be seeing new things pop up in here, and it's a lot of fun to play, and it's definitely more challenging than it's ever been. Now, if you want to find out even more about Madden 25, check out this other exclusive video I have right here on the screen.